Hi everyone. I just wanted to come on and show you what I've been working on lately. I remember a few videos back I mentioned Carla's channel, Caged Fish, and I was doing some little techniques that she had been working on, and something else that she's been doing that I really enjoy is making little collage books. And I wanted to show you what I've been working on. First started with taking some scrapbook papers and just taking 4 or 5 sheets and making like a temporary stitching in the middle just to hold them together, and this gives you, doing it this way gives you a pattern on some of your papers so that you don't have just a lot of white papers. And so I started out by doing this, and I made 3 signatures, and I did start gluing in some of them. This one I haven't glued anything in yet. This one is also, all 3 of these are scrapbook papers. So there's several different patterns, okay? And I've glued a little here and there. And then I did finish, complete one page. This background is this page right here. Okay, so I had a white page and I had this page, and so I just built onto those pages using some magazine images. These are all magazine images here and here, and then on the background I especially on the white page, I wanted to cover the white page, so I covered it with some painted deli papers and other just jelly prints or painted papers. I also added some washi tape here and here, and then some book text that I had stamped on, and then added a little quote. And I just think it makes such a fun little page, and it's a good way to use up your scrapbook papers. So that's the only page I've completed in there, and I don't know if I've completed any in this one or not, but I have started a lot of pages, gluing stuff onto the pages. This is the scrapbook paper in the back here, the dots on it, and so it's just adding a mishmash of different painted bits that you have. Like basically these are scraps. Okay, this is the backing to a piece of that drywall joint tape. These are some of the little tapes that I made in a previous video, the brown craft paper tapes that I did. This is a magazine image. So it's just a really cool way to just put a bunch of your scraps together, and I tried to keep them, in the same color families. And this is the backing to a sticker package. It had 3 little flower stickers on it. So it's just a fun way to use up stuff. Okay, this is the scrapbook paper on this one, and so just added strips of painted papers. Just using up stuff. And sometimes you just get in a mood and you just want to paint papers, and then you think, oh gosh, what am I going to do with them now? Well, this is what you do. You just glue them down to something else. This one is just a painted background. I think I was rolling off a brayer or something probably. And then I stenciled, using up some paint, I just stenciled on top of that. So it's just a mishmash. And then empty spaces like this that are left white, I'll cover up with magazine images. And then, add magazine images all over here and there when I find things that I think will go nicely on the pages. Okay, here's another one. This is the scrapbook paper again on this side, and I added some security envelope here, and a piece, there's a security envelope underneath this here, and also the drywall tape, painted drywall tape on top of that with some washi tape. And this is some more deli paper that was just, stenciled on using up paints, and then I stenciled the letters on top of that, and a piece of map. So it's just really, really fun, and I just wanted to show you what I've been doing. This one is just an image that I want to use on this page. I haven't put it all down yet. I just kind of tacked it lightly with a little bit of glue stick. And so when I get ready to put it all down and find the other images I want to use, then I'll attach, you know, and adhere that better there. And then this is the other side of those papers you saw. Here's more on the purple, the other side of the purple scrapbook page. You know, just blended in some blues and some pinks. This is homemade washi tape right here. Book text with, you know, circles with a bottle lid of some kind of jelly prints, just fun stuff. Rolling off of brayer papers. And this one is a napkin on this side, and this is the scrapbook page. And I haven't done anything else to this one yet, just added the napkin to the white because I like the way the colors blended with that scrapbook page. So these 3 signatures will go into a book, and I'll have an entire little glue book, okay? Which I think is going to be a lot of fun, just to have that and work on it whenever I want to. I don't have to finish it in any particular amount of time. Just have fun with it and play with it. And as I find images in magazines, I'd be like, oh, that'd be great on that purple page or whatever. So that's the idea behind that. Now, on that same vein, I decided I wanted to do a small book, okay? And I already had some covers, book covers ready. Let me get one of those and show you to remind you. I think I showed this on a previous video. This is just a food packaging box, okay? This happens to be Little Debbie cakes, so it's a long box. I cut a little bit off the end. But it's just a little, you know, food packaging. You can use any types of food packaging boxes because they've, you know, they're made of sturdy cardboard. So I just scored it at the length that I wanted it because I'm gonna, you know, end up gluing these panels here, and then I'll have a little book that's this size, okay? So this is what I used to create this, and I just love it. This is jelly print on the background, and I added a little bit of stamping and a little bit of white paint through a piece of drywall tape, and then drew the little border around. And on the front, I added a stamped image. I stamped it on tissue paper, and it did the butterfly and the little kitty cat, and he's wearing glasses. He's so cute. And I realized that if I were to put the stamped image on the tissue paper directly onto this background, it was going to, all of these white areas on the images in the butterfly and in the cat were going to turn this color. A muted version of that, but it would be colorful under there, and I didn't want that to happen. So what I did was, when I stamped these images, I had a sheet of paper underneath my tissue because I knew that the ink would bleed through the tissue. So what I did was, the image that bled through, this is what it looked like. I placed it on the cover. Of course, I had it laid out flat, but I placed this on the cover with a sheet of what we used to call carbon paper back in the day, but now it's graphite paper. Put the graphite paper there, and I laid this image where I wanted the cat to be glued down, and I just drew a line around the outside of the image. And then when I removed the paper and the graphite paper, there was an outline there, so I painted it white. And put a couple of coats on just to make sure I had good coverage. You can still see a tiny bit of color coming through. It's not real bad, but it made a really nice background to be able to put the images so that you could see them and they would show the white through instead of the color. And I got when I glued the image down, I got it a little crooked, so there's a lot of white outline around here, but I really like it. So I was like, okay. So that's how I did that. I did the same thing with the little butterfly here. I just, when I stamped, the image went through and I was able to see the outline, so I used that to draw around and show where I wanted to place the stamped image. So that's how I did that. And then on the inside, I put some more jelly printed paper, And I wanted to show you these little signatures. Okay, they start out like this. Okay, it's just, I believe I used 3 sheets of cardstock. Yeah, 3 sheets of cardstock. And I just sew it together with just regular sewing thread. I just do a simple little 3-hole pamphlet stitch there. And it's very simple to do. I'm not going to go through showing that, but Carla does show it on her channel. And I will link Caged Fish to this video so that you can go and check out how she does her collage books. And she shows a lot of this, how she stitches it all in together. But I wanted to show you the pages that I had completed. I did 1 complete signature. I didn't do the front or the back of the signature yet because I want to make sure that what I put here blends with the front of the next signature. So I haven't done that yet, but I'll do those, you know, as I go along, as I complete these little signatures in here. But just wanted to show you what I had done. I used security envelope pieces on this, and stamped book text, and some tissue paper with music notes. These are some of my little border morsels that I had made back when we were doing those last year. So I was able to use those. And then these are just magazine images, the quote, as well as the glasses and the shoe. And these are little stickers, hearts. And I just think that is so cute, and I just love the small size. I think this is going to be my favorite size to do, just these little books with the square pages. So that's one. Okay, here's another one. And this is just a painted piece of background, is a painted piece of book text. This is a dendritic print that I did on deli paper. This is more book text with that I did with a mask on top. So I was able to, you can see the numbers there where I outlined them a little bit. And then just put magazine images and borders around the page. And I love it. This is gift wrap too, by the way. That little image is from a piece of gift wrap. So it's just really, really fun. And that's what I've been spending some time working on. And I'm going to show you how I do a page in just a moment. More jelly prints. This is from a piece of scrapbook paper. This is from a magazine. This is a rub-on. This little words of rub-on here. This is from a catalog. More jelly printed and marked with a bottle lid in paint. This is corrugated cardboard. Rub-on. The little B is a rub-on. Okay, this one is also rolling off the brayer for the background paper there on a piece of book text. And just hand-drawn borders cut out. Same thing here on this side. This is a magazine image, There's stickers here from the Tim Holtz Chit Chat books. These are just really, really fun and quick. I like the fact that they're quick because they're small. I love it. Okay, here's some more. This is a little bit of scrapbook paper on the background here, and some more of that security envelope. Jelly printed paper, stamped. This is using up paint through a stencil on just a piece of scrap paper, and so I was able to use that piece. It worked out great. More magazine or catalog images, and this is just stamped letters that I put on the side. So that's all I did there. And then I've done one more. This is the second signature. I've done one more page in this book, and I'm going to do a page for you today. And this is the page I did. This is crazy, I know. But these are eyes cut from magazines, different magazines. And I had found this little quote, and I knew that I was going to do eyes on a page somewhere. So that's what I did. This background is from my most recent video where I was using that large gel press plate, and you guys saw me use the little toy truck to make the tracks on some of those prints, and that's what that's from. So that was a fun page to put together using one of those one of those from that video. And that's all I've done in that signature and nothing in the last one. So I'm going to use this one today. And I'm also going to show you in I have another book that I have started. I'm going to show you how I do the closure for my little books, okay? With the button and loop closure, okay? So I'll be showing you that. And these are just the little hair elastics on the spine here that hold in the signatures. This one rolled a little bit. Let me scoot it back in. So that's what that is, and that's how those stay in your book. Okay, so let's go back to this one. I'm going to clip the book together just to, well, I may not need to. I had it clipped together just to make sure it lays flat, but I think it'll be okay now. But let me show you real quick. These are the types of painted papers and things that I've been ripping up to put in these little collage books, okay? I use a lot of book text because I love to have the text showing through on the background, okay? Just lots of, making marks and stuff. This is using up stamps here. And this doesn't look very impressive at all when you look at it like this. But when you tear a little chunk out of that and glue it in a book, it looks great, So keep those when you're stamping off stuff. Keep those, and you can use them for collage fodder. It's awesome. Okay, and then here's some stamps and, mainly stamps. This is a little bit of stenciling here. Some more stamps and stenciling here. See, this is just using up paint off of a paintbrush. So that's, that'll look really cute torn up to use when I have a page with those colors on it. I like those a lot. More of that same thing, just stamping stuff on text. This is paint and drawing around a stencil, inside a stencil, to make the little triangles there. I think I did that with circles back here too. That's another thing I got from Carla over there. Isn't that cool? I like the way those look. More paint and stamping. So, and then these are just examples of, different security envelope patterns. Some are darker than others, some are lighter, and then you've got blues. I even have that red one. I showed you a red one on that first page, but that's the kind of thing I'm using, because it's cool and it's fun to use that stuff up. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to also use something from the last video. Okay, remember, you guys might remember I was putting layers and layers and layers on this napkin over here in the corner of my desk. And this is how it turned out. So excuse me, so I thought I would use a piece of that today for my background. And just create this page spread here. And I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna need some deli paper. Do I still have some here? Okay, here's one. Here's one too. Okay. Just gonna put these in here. Well, I don't need one there really, but I think I will just to protect the front cover so it won't get anything gooey on it, hopefully. Okay. So I'm going to just use some Collage Page and just put this on the page and then lay the napkin on top. Let's see, I think I'm going to use this section here at the bottom edge. So I think I'll just go ahead and trim that off so I don't have to deal with an entire napkin. This on here pretty quickly so it doesn't dry before I can get the napkin on here. Okay. out of the way now. These little books are really quick and easy to work in. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to dry this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just trimming off the excess napkin from the edges so you can see what the background is going to actually look like. Okay, so I just want to mention, if you do this and you and you do what I did here, and you glue a napkin over a spread of pages, be careful, because some of that glue will seep down into the spine area. Didn't here, but it did right over here, and so I went back and checked the pages, and sure enough, there was a little bit of the glue here, and I was able to open the book back up, because it kind of had glued it closed a little bit right in there. So you just want to check your pages of your book to make sure nothing is, you know, seeping through and getting where you don't want it to be. Okay, so this is what our page looks like, the background, I mean. And make sure I have it, nope, make sure I have it the right way up. Okay, that won't be good if I don't have it right way up. Okay, so the images that I'm going to put on this little page are some elephants that I have cut out of magazines. And I've got them all cut out already. This first one is just a half one. He was on the edge of a page, so that's where he's going in my book too. He's going right on the edge of the page. Okay, so here's where I'm going to need to probably clamp my book down, because the napkin being added has added a little bit of pull to the book. It's kind of not wanting to lay flat. Just add it here and there just to hold that down. Let's see. Might be okay. Maybe I can go over here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this elephant's going to go on the edge. And then I've got an idea of where I want to lay these out. I already laid them out and took a picture of it, so I will know where they're going to go. Okay, this one's going to go here. This is so cute. This is a little clothes hamper. Isn't that cute? But anything that was elephant related, I grabbed, you know, I kept and cut it out because I wanted to include it. This is a pillow, like a tapestry pillow with an elephant image on it. So I'm going to use that also. And This is a little, like a little metal, like a home decor item, and it's a rocking elephant, like a rocking horse. This one's a rocking elephant. So it's going to go up here. I have to move my clip over. Okay, so that's going to go there. And then this one is really interesting from a catalog too. It's made with spoon or silverware type handles. I thought that was really pretty. So that's going to go here. And this is a parent and a baby elephant, like brass. So I'm going to put that here. And this one is a little blue ceramic elephant. Put that here. And the last one, which is really cute, is a stuffed elephant wearing glasses. So he's going to go here, actually behind this one a little bit. So I have a page full of elephants, and one of the main reasons for that, well, it's not the main reason, because I actually started finding elephant images a long time before I found this phrase from a magazine, but I really want to use this phrase. I decided I really wanted to use this on an elephant page, and it says, everyone always talks about the elephant in the room. And I thought, that's perfect for my elephant page. So it's going to go right across the page, just like that, with a few little minor adjustments here and there. There will be some places where the images are going to overlap. Oops, sticking to my hands. Where the images will overlap a little bit, you know, the words, but not terribly. That's how it's going to look. I'm just going to use a glue stick to glue these images down. This is Elmer's Extreme. I like it a lot, and it's not very expensive. And so far, it's been holding everything down perfectly for my collage books. So that's what I'm using. So I'm going to glue this down, and I'll be right back. I got it all glued down, and I just wanted to show you what I was doing. I'm taking, for now, I'm just taking a little Q-tip. And there were areas that I did not cut out, like this tiny little area underneath where the trunk goes for this elephant. So it was white there. So I'm just taking a little bit of the paint colors that I used and just kind of dotting it in. And that gives the impression that it was all cut out. Nobody would ever know the difference, especially because there's so much white space in this page to start with. So I'm just getting just the tiniest little bits of paint on here, and then just kind of touching them in there here and there, and it just looks like it's part of that jelly print. So that's just a little trick if you can't get into the tiniest little spots, you know, and you can, you know, to cut them out, and you can just, you know, add a tiny bit of paint here and there. I'm going to put a little bit in here too, where, sorry, I made the camera a little closer and I forgot that I did that. So you just get a little bit. If it gets a little on the image, you can just turn the Q-tip over and wipe it right off. You can also use a brush for this, whatever you want to use. Just trying to get a little bit of color in there, so it doesn't look so white. And like I said, it's not a real problem in this case to leave it, even just to leave it white, because there is, you know, a lot of white in the background anyway. So I'll let that dry a little before I put the blue on, so I don't make muddy spots. Let's a little bit more. There we go. So that just puts a little color back there, and I think it works great. Good way to camouflage or disguise those little areas that just you feel like might need a tiny bit of color. Put a little blue here behind the elephant's, above the elephant's shoulder there. See if I can get a tiny bit there. Yep. So that's all it takes, is just putting a little here and there, and it looks like the rest of the background. Okay, so the only thing that's left, I think, that I'm going to do on here is just, I think I'm going to ink around the edges with black, and my black stays on, and kind of frame it in a bit. I really like this page. And I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing these little collage books I'm working on. Okay, so we'll call this one done, and I'll show you how I did the closure, how I do the closure for my little books. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I do this little button and loop closure for my book. It involves, this is a wide eyelet from the We Are Memory Keepers company. Okay, they look like this. So if you're interested in getting any of these, the hole is 3/16 of an inch, and they are very wide. So I like the wide eyelets because it covers the it covers this hair elastic really well when you use it to attach those. So it's that, and it's a hair elastic, and then I use 2 buttons, and one on the back for support and one on the front to loop the hair elastic through. So the book that we're going to work on is for today is this one. This is another one that I've covered and gotten ready to get started on. I've got my signatures here. They're not attached yet, but there's 3 of them. And you can add more than 3 to these books too. You could add as many as 5 or maybe 6 if you wanted to. I'm just starting with 3 to see how thick the book gets before I add any more. But these are just the hair elastics, so you can put as many or as few as you want in the back of in the spine of your book. Okay, so this is another jelly print, and oh, I take that back. It's not a jelly print. The background was made when I was cleaning off my brayer while I was jelly printing, and then I came back and added these dots of paint onto it, and after that I added these pieces of book text that I had kind of done a wash of a brown paint in just to make them look older. And I tore them out and inked the edges and glued those down. And then I came back and stamped these different older looking images. I felt like this book had a kind of a vintagey feel to it. So I just stamped some images. There's images on the spine as well. And for the inside, this is that book text that I painted with the brown wash. And I went back with some ivory colored paint on my brayer and just kind of splotched it on and rolled it out in no particular fashion, just to, you know, give it an interest. And then I stamped the images again on top of that before I glued it into place. So that's the inside, and so what I do first is usually just put the eyelet and the loop in place back here. So to get to that, to where I want to put it, I just find the center here, and I've got one of these cool centering rulers, which I really like. It starts with a 0 in the middle and then goes out 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, and so on. I like that. And it's pretty easy to find where your center is this way. See, I can see that it goes out to 2 1/8 right here and 2 1/8 on this side, so I know that the 0 is where the center is. All right, and then I'm going to lay my eyelet on there, even though this is going to go on the back side of this. I'm just going to lay this here just to get an idea of where it needs to be placed. I don't want it too close to the edge, and I don't want it too far in. So I'm just going to place it, okay, right about there, just so that I can mark where I'm going to punch the hole. Let's see if I can find my pencil. There we go. Okay, so that's where it's going to be, right about there, and I'm just going to draw a little mark on the inside of the eyelet. So you get the idea. There's a little dot, and that's where I'm going to punch the hole, put the eyelet in place. I'm using a crocodile. You can use whatever kind of hole punching mechanism that you have. I've got a piece of paper in here. I can't see. There we go. Whatever kind of hole punching mechanism you have, and just punch your hole, and then you get your eyelet ready to go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now the eyelet goes on the back like this, okay? But before I crimp it down, I'm going to put the hair elastic in place. Now, I like to try to put the area where the elastic is joined. You know, there's always a little place where it's glued together. I like to put that underneath the eyelet just to keep that protected, and so it doesn't weaken when you're stretching this a lot. Okay. And you want to bring the elastic around to where it's almost closed right here. And it's hard to hold on to this and crimp it and do all that at the same time without it doing this and slipping back out. You want to try to keep it where it's facing the edge so that it can come out and go around to this side of your book. So I found that it's best if you attach this piece to something, a hook on the wall, a doorknob, whatever you can find. Hook that on, and then as you're pulling, you know, putting a little tension on it, then you can crimp down your eyelet, okay? So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll come right back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've got it crimped down. You can see the eyelet is crimped here, and the elastics are pretty close to the center there, facing outward, you know, going towards the outside edge of the book, okay? You can move it just a tiny bit once you get it in there too, just to get it in the right place, okay? So that's the back of the book. Okay, now what I have found is that the elastic is probably going to be just a little bit too long at first. So as you can see here, I've tied a knot in this one just to make it shorter. As the book fills up, you might need more, and then you can untie the elastic and you'll still have room. But in the beginning, it won't stay closed while your book is you know, more flat before you've added a lot to your pages. So I just take it and make a little knot right there. It doesn't have to be pulled extremely tight or anything either. Just make a knot. Okay, so that it just looks like that. Okay. And then it's ready and much more the right size to come over to the front of your book. Okay. So the next step is the same, basically finding the center. And so what I do is, since I already have a hole in my book, I just usually put the front and back together like so and make the mark inside for where the button will go. Okay. So there's my little mark. I don't know if you can see that clearly. There's a little circle right there. Okay, so of course I actually need that to be on the front side so I can see where the button actually goes here. So what I do in that case is, you know, I have two buttons, one for the inside, one for the outside. So I'm going to have a black button inside, and I'll have this little blue colored one on the front side. Okay, so to get that hole to the front, what I will do is just put the back button in place and just poke a hole with my needle. Okay, then I'll know find it one more time. Okay, then I'll know right where I'll be sewing the button to the front. Actually, that's pretty tight, so I'm going to get my pokey tool and do it with that, so it'll be a little bit easier to manage. It's 2 layers of cardboard in there. There we go. Just all you need to do is make a mark on through the other side. You don't have to go all the way through. In fact, you probably don't want to take it all the way through because you don't want the hole to be as big as your pokey tool. Just push the point through so that you get just a little bit of a mark there. I don't know if you can even see that on the camera, but there's 2 little dots right here, and they're raised. So it's easy to see where the button's going to go. Okay. I usually go ahead and take a tiny bit of glue and put it on the back button. Don't do this on the front now, just on the back. And that's gonna just ensure that it stays in place and doesn't move or wiggle around while you're sewing. It makes it easier to, makes it easier to keep it in place and hold on to it while you're trying to sew 2 buttons on. So I just kind of around the edges put a little bit of glue and just put it down over the holes that we just made. You can see light coming through the holes in your book. That way, that's how you can easily line your button back up to where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then I just press it in place, just like that. And I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to mark these holes again on this side just to make sure that I know where I'm going to be sewing the button on. Okay, so there we go. That's the back button, and it's the only one that I put glue on. Okay, so now this button's going to go here, and I see exactly where the holes are, so that made it very simple. Okay, now if I sewed this button flat to this book, there would be no room for this loop, this thick elastic loop, to come around and go under the button. So there's a little trick to being able to raise the button up. I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to get the first thread through the first hole. That's what I'm trying to say. Get the thread through the first hole, all right? And then I'm just going to hold on to the tail. I'm not going to knot this at the end. I'm just going to hold on to it. Okay, just holding it back here behind the book. And you want to leave enough of a tail, because what you're going to do is at the end you're going to tie it with this piece, and you'll just tie your knot then instead of knotting it there and going through and then having a big ugly, you know, bally knot back in the back. Okay. So the trick is to place a toothpick right between the holes of your button. So you're going to lay a toothpick right here, and you're going to sew over that toothpick. Okay, which is going to make more thread there than what you would normally need when you're, you know, sewing a button onto something. Oops, hang on to that tail, don't forget that. Okay. So you're going to just continue to sew around the toothpick. You can use anything here too. A toothpick is just kind of easy to find, easy to have around, you know. And I usually just do, depending on how thick your thread is, you can just do this twice, or you can do it 3 times. I think twice is probably going to be enough. So after you have a couple of stitches in place to hold your button on, then you can take out the toothpick, and you'll see that there's a little bit of play now to where your button is able to lift up off the back of the book, whereas before, you know, otherwise you would have sewn it flat down to the book. So now there's a little bit of room there. So what you do next is you come up like you're going to sew another stitch, but instead of going up through the top buttonhole, kind of awkward to do with this heavy book. It takes a little patience, but you can do it. You go up through the back button, but instead of coming up through the top button, you want to just come up behind it. Bring your needle up behind it. It's kind of hard to explain, but don't go through the button, but push it right through the hole. Okay, so that it's not going through the button, but just coming up behind the button. Okay, and then as you pull the thread up, pull it all the way through, but don't pull real tight, because now you don't have your toothpick in place to hold your loops up. So don't pull real tight, because you can pull those down tight. So what you do now is you have the thread up under the button. So while you have that there, you want to just twist it around the button. I usually do about 4 times, maybe 5. Okay, and then you can go behind the button and go back down through the other hole, the opposite hole from the one you came up through just now. So just find the hole and push it down through, and it will go through the button on the back. See what I'm doing there? I'm going behind the button, behind the top button, going down through the bottom button again. See? Okay, it's a little bit awkward to work that needle through at that angle, but it can be done. Okay, there. So now what you have is the button is wrapped with thread there, and that helps to hold up all of that, hold the button up off the book, and all of that wrapping just gives it a nice sturdy base to sit on. And at this point you can pull both of your threads and tighten them down. Okay. So now you have your button stitched on, and yet you have room there now to put your loop around from the elastic. Okay, so this elastic is going to go down around that much easier now. Okay, so once everything is taut, then you can take your needle away, and you can just simply take both tails and tie a knot. Okay, and after I get the first part of the knot secure like that, I add a tiny bit of glue. There we go. I added just a tiny dot of glue right there, just to kind of help to keep that in place. Okay, and then do the second part of the knot, and also put a dot of glue on the top. All right, and that's going to dry and secure that thread, and it won't go anywhere. So you can cut these tails off now, and you can cut them pretty close to the knot, because they're going to be glued. They're not going to come undone or anything like that. And I usually just kind of flatten it down like that, flat. Okay, so that's what it ends up looking like. And that dries pretty quickly. That's a quick dry glue, but it won't take too long to dry regardless. And then your button is secure. It won't pull through because of this button being in place. This button makes it nice and secure so that this one won't tear the holes or anything if you do a lot of pulling on it. So then this loop will come around and very easily slip right over the button. And you have a nice little closure. And then, like I said, as your book gets thicker and fuller, as you fill up your pages, you can always untie this knot and give yourself more room. If your book got really nice and fat, you might not want it quite so tight pulling right here, so you can undo that. You have plenty of extra loop space. So that's how I do that, and it's pretty simple. And I hope that helps you guys, and I hope you'll make some cool little books. Please check the video description for a link to Carla's channel. It's called Caged Fish. And maybe think about making yourself some fun little collage books, because I'm telling you, it's really, really a good way to use up a lot of your scraps that you have lying around. And even if you don't have any magazine images or anything like that to put in it just yet, it's fun just to glue those little bits and pieces down and actually use them for something. So thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll be back again soon with another video. Take care. Bye-bye.